Hi there, this is Linda Jo Martin, the book lady, and I'm here with some Friday reads. I have never done a Friday reads before, so first time for everything, right? So this is still Friday in the Pacific time zone. I think all of you are probably now in Saturday. So I'm doing this late at night, and the reason why is because I was working earlier. I work online and I had a lot to do, so I couldn't get away. But it's still Friday in Idaho, at least northern Idaho. I think southern Idaho too. Idaho is a strange state because part of it is in the Pacific time zone and part of it is in the mountain time zone. I live in the Pacific time zone. So I'll just get started here. I'm not sure exactly what I'm supposed to do, just maybe like report on what I read in the last week, something like that. So I finished Close Calls, The True Tales of Cougar Bob. Pretty interesting little book if you happen to live in this community where the author and her husband live. She wrote her book as creative nonfiction. It was stories about her husband, but she wrote them in such a way that they were written in the first person as if he was telling the story. Also, this woman, which I'll show you her picture, it's here at the back. The author is B.J. Campbell, and she had a newsletter about her husband for years and years called the Cougar Bob Review, and it's available on her website. Her husband was a trapper, so there's some animal killing going on. It's a little hard for me to read because I'm a vegetarian, but I was fascinated to learn about these people who do live in my community, the same community I live in, and it was very interesting. He did have a lot of close calls. I think the one that frightened me the most was when he was lost in the snow between Coeur and Plummer, and that was really a close call. He could have died. But lots of other times, I mean, he was tracking cougars and coyotes and things like that that were really posing a problem to civilization. So it's a bad job, I guess. Somebody has to do it, right? I used to think that was terrible, of course, since I'm a vegetarian, but then I lived in the forest for a long time in Happy Camp, California, which is in the middle of the Klamath National Forest, and indeed we did have problems with cougars. I don't want to describe that. I mean, it would just upset people to know what we went through with the cougars. But I've seen them like on my front porch, and yeah, sometimes if a cougar is posing a danger to civilization, then it has to be tracked down and killed. Otherwise, it'll just, I mean, consider this, it's a cougar and it's just going to kill dozens and dozens of animals every year to keep itself alive. So if the cougar goes, the cougar goes. Okay. I had a problem also with my nonfiction November books. I'm going to grab them. These are my nonfiction November books. Well, the Cougar Bob book was one of them. The other ones, I didn't have a report on my nonfiction November, so I'll do it right now. Okay, Paleo Manifesto, so it's all about meat eating also, so I have a problem with reading it. I enjoyed the first part. There were some essays that he wrote. The one about Moses, the microbiologist, was especially interesting to me because he analyzed the health laws of the Old Testament, which I thought was pretty interesting. Yeah. So I would never eat that way. I just couldn't. It's been a long time since I've had any red meat, and it's just not my thing. So, The Worst Interests of the Child. This was also a nonfiction November book. I read half of it. I might read the other half. I didn't agree with the author on certain things, like he decided that parental alienation syndrome doesn't exist, and I do believe it's a thing. It does exist, and I do agree that a lot of people have used it unfairly in court. This book was mainly slanted toward women and against men, so I also don't do that. I mean, I work in this field somewhat. I don't actually work as in have clients, but I have a website about children, well, about parents who have been deprived of their children. But I don't slant my website for or against men or women. It is just, it's a parent thing. So I don't know. I have mixed feelings about the book. A lot of them. But How to Survive and Prosper as an Artist. I did give this one a try. I read a couple of chapters, and quite frankly it bored me. And I skimmed some of the book looking for information that was pertinent to my situation, and I will probably skim it some more before I put it away or give it away permanently. And that was it for Nonfiction November. Okay, so one of the things that distracted me during Nonfiction November was this book, Coeur Waters by Ned Hayes. I already did a review on this in another video. It was good and bad. I wish it had been all good. I'm kind of interested in reading his other books, but that will have to wait for another time. I'm not ready yet, but soon, maybe next year. Now, this is my Kindle, and I've been reading Crime and Punishment. However, I'm totally not reading it very much right now because I'm too distracted by this book, which I am crazy about. It is Blue Highways by William Least Heat Moon, and this book is just amazing. It's a bedtime book for me, so I only read 1 or 2 chapters a night, but I just love it. It's a travel memoir. The Blue Highways are the ones that are not the main interstates, and great book. I was concerned that I was going to, finish the book and really regret it, and then I noticed on the back that he's written a couple of other books, so I have something to look forward to a little bit more when I get done with that one. Gilead, I'm about halfway through it, really loving it. And it's about a father who is dying. He's in his 70s, and his child is less than 10 years old. So he is writing a memoir or a diary to give to his son to read after he passes away. Very interesting. And then this one is my Christian Bible study that I'm reading about 1st and 2nd Thessalonians. I'm about halfway through it. I really love this book. Yeah, I'll do a separate video about that some other time. And that's about it. I think I've covered everything that I'm reading right now. I'm going to be doing the Pop Sugar Reading Challenge for the 3rd year in a row. I'm never able to read all of the books that I would like to read, but it does guide me to read a lot of books that I would not otherwise have read, and I'm happy with my progress that I've been making in the last few years, so I'm going to do it again. Okay, that's about it for right now. More details in the future, and happy reading, everyone. Bye.